Hey guys, it's Jen and I'm here with a video for you today. So I've decided this year that I'm going to be doing my wrap-ups in groups of 5 as I finish my books because last year, some months I didn't really read much at all to do my wrap-up, so it wasn't much of a wrap-up, and then other months I read so much that it made them super long because if you're doing a wrap-up on like, I think my biggest reading month was like 18 books or something like that. That's an insane amount of books, and that's going to take a long time to wrap up. So I'm going to try doing it this way and see if I like that better. So I'm just going to go over the first 5 books that I've read so far this year and let you know what I thought of them. So the first book that I read was an ebook. It was my book club book for January, and that was Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. This book was such an emotional read for me. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because this book literally had me sobbing at times. Towards the end of it, I had to set it down and take a break because I just could not continue reading the way I was. Like, I couldn't see to read, so I had to take a break and just calm down a little bit because it was just so heartbreaking, and I'm such an empathetic person that I have no problems whatsoever connecting with characters. I'm sure a lot of you are like that. If you read a lot, it's kind of something you pick up. So essentially, this isn't a spoiler because this is what the book is about. Our main character, whose name is Taylor, her father finds out that he has terminal cancer, so her family decides that they're going to go spend one last summer at their family house at the lake. So they haven't been there in a few years because everyone's lives have been so busy, so they're taking this last summer to go and spend time together as a family. So right away, you know going in that her father doesn't have very long to live. You know it's going to end emotionally, like you know it's going to be an emotional book. But I couldn't help it. I connected with her and I loved her father. Her father was a great character. They had a really good relationship. She has a better relationship with her father than she does her mother. Her family isn't very emotional as it is. Like, my family's not very emotional either. We're not like a huggy family. So I could kind of see like it being my family. And I kind of just couldn't help but think how I would feel if that was my dad. Like, I'm not super close to my dad. I used to be, but we're not super close anymore. But I do, obviously I wouldn't want him to be diagnosed with terminal cancer because I do love him. Also, when they had left the last summer they had been there when they left, she had kind of just taken off and left a couple of friendships in a not so good place. So her friend and her friends do show up in it, and it just shows like how those relationships go through a bit, like what happens to those relationships. And like, as the book is called, it's Second Chance Summer, so it's a book about second chances, and it was an absolute wonderful read, and I am so glad I read it. I had read The Unexpected Everything last year, and I enjoyed it a lot, but I had heard that it wasn't Morgan Matson's best book. So I can definitely see now why people said it's not her best. And I also need to read Since You've Been Gone still, so I'm not sure which one that I will like the most, but I'm definitely going to be reading that one because I'm really enjoying her writing. But yeah, I gave that book 5 out of 5 because it was such an emotional read. I felt so emotionally crushed afterwards. It was really good. Like, sometimes I need to read a book. Like, I've really felt like reading a book that made me cry, and that was the perfect book for me because right up in, like, for the first week of January, I was kind of in a bookish slump because I wasn't reading I was reading a book that I didn't really feel like reading. So this one was definitely what I wanted to read at the time, and I really enjoyed it because of that. So the second book that I read was an audiobook that I have been listening to for a while, and that's Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon. It's the fourth book in the Outlander series that follows Jamie and Claire. I don't really want to go into too much detail, but it essentially shows a bit of their lives. It picks up from where the third book ended off and shows a bit of their life for like the next couple of years, or next year or so. Brianna and Roger have their parts in it again, so you're flashing back to the past and the future, and I really enjoyed it because it's just such a great series. I love historical fiction, and this is historical fiction. This is the kind of historical fiction that I like. I like the big epic historical fiction series. I love having huge books to read in that genre for some reason. I don't know why. But it was such a great read. Is Jamie and Claire, and I cannot wait to continue on with that series. I'm hoping to get caught up with the series this year. That is my goal, is to get caught up with that series. It's a series that I've been working on for a few years, so I'm really hoping that I do get caught up. And I always listen to this series on audiobook because I just love the narrator. The narrator for the series is Davina Porter, and she just does a wonderful job. And there is just so much that happened in this series, and I start listening and I just lose myself in it, in the story, and it just flies by, even though this audiobook is like 40 some hours long. It just flies by for me. So, of course, I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars as well. So the third book that I read is the first physical book off my bookshelf of the year for me, and that is Salvage the Bones by Jessamine Ward. I read this one for the biannual bibliothon, which I absolutely failed at, so you're not going to see anything more about that from me because I did not do very well at all on that. It's about a young girl who's 15 years old, and she finds out that she is pregnant, and she is not really sure how she feels about it. And at the same time, there's like a hurricane coming to her area. Now the hurricane is Hurricane Katrina, and I'm sure everyone has heard of that one, and how devastating it was. So this book was definitely very interesting for me to read. I don't get up here in Canada, we get hurricanes, but they don't tend to be very bad, at least so far. We haven't had anything too bad. Occasionally we will get one, but I'm further inland, so it doesn't really hit us very bad. Normally it just misses us. There was one a few years ago that did do a bunch of damage and knock out power for a couple of weeks, but it was nothing like Hurricane Katrina. It was absolutely nothing. Etch is the only girl in her family of 5. Now this book is one that would be Own Voices. Jessamine Ward is African American. Our main character, Etch, is also African American, and Jessamine Ward lived through Katrina as well. So she went through that when she was younger. So this book is something that she probably really relates to and understands what the characters are going through from personal experience, which is really scary to think of because it was scary at parts. I was worried for her family. So it basically just shows how her family lives. They're poor. They live in Mississippi. And it just shows how a family can come together in the roughest of times, because this is, there's a lot of growth going on in this family. At first it doesn't seem like they're all very close, but as the book goes on, you see those family ties forming and becoming closer, and it was a wonderful book to read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really thought I was going to enjoy it, and I did. So I'm glad that I read this one finally, because I've had this on my shelf forever, and I will definitely be checking out Jesmyn Ward's other books because this one was very enjoyable. It is a great read about Katrina and the troubles that some people went through during that storm. The 4th book that I read was another audiobook, and that was Once Burned by Janine Frost. It is the first book in the Night Prince series. I believe it's 4 books in the series, and it follows Vlad, who is a character in the Night Huntress series. He is essentially, he's Vlad the Impaler, so Dracula, and it shows a little bit more into him. It's not told from his point of view, it is told from a girl's point of view, and that is Layla, who is a human being who has a troubled past. It says right in the synopsis that when she was younger, she was in a terrible accident, and she was left with some powers. So essentially, someone finds out that she has these powers, and they want to use her to find Vlad, and she finds him, and she gets wrapped right up into it, and it's everything that I wanted, everything I always want from Janine Frost. It's paranormal, there's sex, there's some really good sex scenes, it's fast-paced, it's a classic Janine Frost, and I cannot wait to read the 2nd book. I already purchased it on Audible. I used my credit this month for it because I can't wait to continue on. I just love this book so much. I read it so fast. I didn't want to put it down, so I was like looking for things to do so that I could listen to it. I love the narrator, Tavia Gilbert. She's the same one who does the narrations for the Night Huntress series, and she just does a wonderful job, and she gets me all caught up in the book, and I just can't put it down. I love Vlad. Like, he's one of my favorite characters from the Night Huntress series, so I'm super happy that he has his own series, because I can't get enough of him, and he is just amazing, and he's a bit of an asshole, and he's full of himself, and he's super cocky, and he knows that he is attractive. So it was a pretty good read. If you're looking for, like, it's not like a super literary read. If you're looking for something that's a little on the smutty side, I definitely recommend it. If you like paranormal romance, you will like this. It is a classic paranormal romance, and it's amazing. I gave it 5 out of 5 because I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to continue on. Like I said, it was just so good. And the 5th book that I read this year is Hollow City by Ransom Riggs. I've read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children a long time ago, so it has taken me a long time to get to this book. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I didn't quite like it as much as I liked the first book. I don't really want to go into a whole lot of details, but this one just has the children trying to get Miss Peregrine help from where it ended off in the last book. So they're doing a lot of traveling, and it's good. It just wasn't quite as good as the first book. I am going to finish the series. I have Library of Souls, so I am going to finish that. But I just found that it wasn't quite, it kind of has like the second book syndrome that a lot of second books and trilogies have. So hopefully it picks up in the third one and I get hooked into that one, because I like the series. I love the creepy pictures in the book because they're always creepy. And I do enjoy the story. Like, I've been enjoying the story. It's I like it. I don't love it. I think it's a little bit overhyped, but I mean, sometimes that just happens. So I'll continue on with it, and I will set my expectations a little bit lower for the third book, and maybe it will surprise me. But I did enjoy it, and I will be continuing on with that series. So those are the first 5 books that I've read so far this year. I have already finished the 6th book, but obviously it's not going to be wrapped up in this. I'm working on my 7th and 8th books right now. Hopefully I will enjoy them. I'm trying to read off my bookshelf this year. I haven't been doing so well so far, but I'm trying. We want to bring down the TBR pile. So if you've read any of those, let me know down below what you thought of them, and I will see you guys later. Bye!